Welcome, everyone, to the start of a journey into one of the world's most perplexing and debated mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle. For decades, this seemingly innocuous stretch of ocean has captured the imaginations of people worldwide, becoming synonymous with unexplained disappearances, paranormal activity, and maritime misfortune. What exactly is it about this region that has fueled so many tales of mystery and intrigue? Is it a genuine vortex of supernatural forces, a graveyard for ships and planes claimed by some unknown entity? Or is it simply a case of misattributed statistics, exaggerated stories, and natural phenomena misinterpreted through the lens of fear and speculation? Over the course of this exploration, we'll be diving deep into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. Mystery, separating fact from fiction, examining historical accounts, and exploring the various theories that have been put forward to explain the unusual events attributed to this region. But before we delve into the specifics, let's first define what we're talking about. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, is a loosely defined area in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean. While its exact boundaries are a matter of debate, it's generally considered to be a triangular shape bounded by Bermuda, Miami, and Puerto Rico. This area covers approximately 500,000 square miles, a vast expanse of ocean that sees a significant amount of maritime and air traffic. Now, it's important to note that the name Bermuda Triangle is itself a relatively modern invention. While stories of strange occurrences in the region date back centuries, the term didn't really enter the popular lexicon until the mid-20th century. It was during this period, fueled by sensationalized newspaper articles and pulp fiction stories, that the Bermuda Triangle began to acquire its reputation as a place of mysterious disappearances. But why this particular region? What makes the Bermuda Triangle stand out from other areas of the ocean? Part of the answer lies in its unique geographical and environmental characteristics. The triangle is located in a region known for its unpredictable weather patterns, including sudden and violent storms, hurricanes, and rogue waves. It's also home to the Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current that can create turbulent waters and navigational challenges. Furthermore, the Bermuda Triangle is an area of intense magnetic activity, with some theories suggesting that unusual magnetic anomalies could interfere with navigational instruments, leading to disorientation and accidents. The region also contains some of the deepest ocean trenches in the world, including the Puerto Rico Trench, which plunges to depths of over 27,000 feet. This extreme depth could make the recovery of wreckage from any accidents incredibly difficult. Adding to the mystery surrounding disappearances, however, the allure of the Bermuda Triangle extends far beyond purely scientific or geographical explanations. For many, the triangle represents a frontier of the unknown, a place where the laws of nature seem to bend or break, and where the possibility of the supernatural looms large. Stories of vanished ships, missing aircraft, and unexplained phenomena have fueled countless books, movies, and television shows, solidifying the Bermuda Triangle's place in popular culture as a realm of mystery and adventure. From tales of extraterrestrial encounters to theories about time warps and portals to other dimensions, the Bermuda Triangle has become a canvas upon which our deepest fears and wildest imaginations are projected. The enduring appeal of the Bermuda Triangle also lies in its inherent unknowability. Despite decades of research and investigation, many of the disappearances attributed to the region remain unexplained. This lack of definitive answers leaves room for speculation, allowing people to create their own narratives and interpretations of the events. The mystery also connects with a human fascination with the unknown. We love a good mystery, something that can't be easily solved, something that tantalizes our imaginations, and the Bermuda Triangle certainly provides that in abundance. It is a puzzle we can't seem to put down, but as we embark on this journey, it's crucial to approach the Bermuda Triangle with a critical and open mind. While the stories and legends surrounding the region are undoubtedly compelling, it's important to separate the sensationalized accounts from the verifiable facts. We'll be examining the evidence, weighing the different theories, and considering alternative explanations for the events that have occurred within the triangle's boundaries. We'll explore whether the disappearances are truly exceptional, or whether they simply reflect the statistical probability of accidents occurring in a busy and challenging maritime environment. We'll delve into the historical records, examining the details of specific incidents and evaluating the reliability of the sources. We'll also consider the role of human error, mechanical failure, and other factors that might contribute to maritime and aviation accidents. Ultimately, our goal is not to debunk the myth of the Bermuda Triangle entirely, but rather to provide a balanced and informed perspective on this enduring mystery. To understand the complex interplay of factors that contribute to its allure, and to separate the grains of truth from the mountains of speculation. So, join us as we set sail into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, a place where the boundaries between reality and imagination blur, and where the mysteries of the deep continue to beckon. Let's begin. Welcome back, explorers of the unknown. Today, we're diving deeper into the legend, the enigma, the watery wilderness that is the Bermuda Triangle. We've set the stage, painting a picture of this infamous location and the whispers of strange occurrences that cling to its name. But before we dissect the science, the theories, and the potential explanations, we need to journey back in time. We need to explore the historical roots of the Bermuda Triangle mystery, the early tales and legends that first planted the seeds of unease in the minds of mariners and adventurers. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle, as we know it today, is largely a 20th century creation. But the region's history of disappearances and strange events stretches back much further, weaving a tapestry of maritime lore filled with unexplained incidents and nautical nightmares. Before the modern era of radar and satellite navigation, the sea was a far more perilous place. Ships were vulnerable to the whims of the weather, the vagaries of currents, and the ever-present threat of human malice in the form of pirates and privateers. Records were often incomplete, stories were embellished, and the line between fact and fiction blurred with each telling dot. So, let's set sail into the mists of time and explore some of these early accounts, these whispers from the past that hint at something unusual in this particular stretch of ocean. Now, pinpointing the absolute first instance of a strange disappearance in the Bermuda Triangle is a near impossible task. Maritime history is filled with lost ships and unsolved mysteries, and attributing them specifically to the Triangle is often a matter of speculation. However, there are certain stories, certain legends that stand out. Tales passed down through generations of sailors that speak of unexplained events and unsettling experiences. One recurring theme in these early accounts is the prevalence of sudden and violent storms. The Caribbean region, including the Bermuda Triangle, is notorious for its unpredictable weather patterns. Hurricanes, tropical storms, and rogue waves can appear with little warning, overwhelming even the most experienced crews. While these natural phenomena certainly account for many shipwrecks, some early accounts suggest that the storms in this area were different. Sailors spoke of sudden squalls that appeared out of nowhere, of violent tempests that seemed to defy the laws of nature, and of inexplicable changes in weather patterns that left them disoriented and lost. Another common thread in these early stories is the sense of disorientation. Before the advent of accurate navigational tools, sailors relied heavily on celestial navigation, using the stars, the sun, and the horizon to determine their position. However, some accounts describe instances where compasses malfunctioned, where the stars seemed to shift erratically, and where the horizon appeared distorted, leading to confusion and ultimately to disaster. Now, it's important to note that compass malfunctions were not uncommon in the age of sail. Magnetic anomalies caused by variations in the Earth's magnetic field could certainly throw off compass readings. But the sheer frequency of these reports in the Bermuda Triangle, coupled with other strange occurrences, has led some to believe that something more than just natural magnetic variations was at play. Then there are the tales of ghost ships, vessels found adrift with no signs of their crews. These eerie discoveries often fueled speculation about foul play, mutiny, or disease, but sometimes the circumstances were simply too bizarre to explain. Ships found perfectly intact, with sails set, cargo undisturbed, and food still cooking on the stove, but with no sign of the crew. These stories, while often embellished over time, are undeniably chilling and contribute to the overall sense of mystery surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. One particularly intriguing example, though its connection to the Bermuda Triangle is debated, is the story of the Mary Celeste. In 1872, this American merchant brigantine was discovered adrift in the Atlantic, not directly within the traditionally defined boundaries of the triangle, but close enough to be considered part of the wider mystery. The ship was seaworthy, with ample provisions and cargo, but the crew, including the captain, his wife, and their daughter, were nowhere to be found. The ship's lifeboat was missing, and there were some signs of haste, but no obvious signs of violence or struggle. The mystery of the Mary Celeste has never been definitively solved, and it remains one of the most enduring and perplexing maritime enigmas of all time. Of course, it's crucial to approach these early accounts with a healthy dose of skepticism. Many of these stories have been passed down through generations, undergoing countless retellings and embellishments along the way. The lack of reliable documentation and the prevalence of superstition in the age of sail make it difficult to separate fact from fiction. However, these tales, these legends, played a crucial role in shaping the modern perception of the Bermuda Triangle. They established the region as a place of danger, a place of mystery, a place where the laws of nature seemed to bend and break. These historical accounts, these early whispers of strange happenings, formed the foundation upon which the modern myth of the Bermuda Triangle was built. They captured the imagination of writers, filmmakers, and the public alike, transforming a relatively obscure stretch of ocean into a symbol of the unknown, a place where anything is possible and where the secrets of the deep continue to elude us. Before the headlines, the books, and the documentaries, there were only these stories, these tales of unexplained disappearances, of sudden storms, and of ships found adrift, forever lost to the mysteries of the sea. And it's these stories that we must remember as we delve deeper into the enigma of the Bermuda Triangle. They are the echoes of a time when the sea was a vast and unforgiving wilderness. And when the unknown was a constant companion for those who dared to venture into its depths. Ahoy, there fellow explorers of the unexplained. Today, we chart a course back in time to the dawn of documented encounters with the enigmatic Bermuda Triangle. Our navigator, none other than the legendary Christopher Columbus himself. Now, most of us know Columbus for his voyages to the Americas, his role in opening up the New World to European exploration. But what many don't realize is that his journeys also provide some of the earliest written accounts that hint at the strange phenomena associated with the Bermuda Triangle. Picture this. It's 1492. Columbus, commanding a small fleet of 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, is venturing into the unknown. Sailing westward across the vast Atlantic in search of a new route to the Indies. His crew, a motley bunch of sailors, are undoubtedly filled with a mixture of hope, fear, and probably a fair bit of C-S-I-C-K-N-E-S-S, as Columbus and his ships ventured as the Bermuda Triangle. Things started to get unusual. In his personal log, Columbus documented a series of strange occurrences that have puzzled historians and paranormal enthusiasts alike for centuries. One of the first anomalies he noted was erratic compass behavior. On September 17, 1492, Columbus wrote about his compass behaving strangely, pointing in different directions than expected. Now, a malfunctioning compass might not seem like a major red flag today. But back in the 15th century, navigation relied heavily on these instruments. Without accurate compass readings, sailors were essentially lost at sea. Columbus, being the experienced mariner he was, initially tried to downplay the significance of this anomaly, attributing it to variations in the compass itself. He didn't want to alarm his already apprehensive crew. Can you imagine the murmurs spreading amongst the sailors? The unease growing with each unexplained shift in the needle. But the compass weirdness was just the beginning. A few days later, on September 20th, Columbus recorded seeing a strange light in the sky. He described it as a great flash of light that appeared suddenly and then vanished. This wasn't just a faint glimmer on the horizon. This was a significant, attention-grabbing event. He noted it, and others on his ship saw it as well. Theories abound about what this light could have been. Some suggest it was a meteor, a perfectly reasonable explanation. Others, leaning into more speculative territory, propose it could have been some sort of atmospheric phenomenon, perhaps related to the magnetic anomalies that some believe exist within the triangle. And, of course, there are those who suggest something far more extraterrestrial. While the meteor theory seems most plausible, the fact remains that Columbus himself found the event noteworthy enough to record in his log, adding another layer of intrigue to his journey. Then, on October 11th, just before making landfall in the Bahamas, Columbus and his crew experienced another unsettling phenomenon. He reported seeing unusual dancing lights beneath the waves. These weren't just bioluminescent organisms, which were common enough. Columbus described them as bright, moving lights that seemed to be darting around underwater. Imagine witnessing that. In the dead of night, surrounded by the vast, dark ocean, seeing these mysterious lights playing beneath your ship. No wonder the sailors were starting to get spooked. Now, what could these underwater lights have been? Again, there are several explanations, ranging from the mundane to the more outlandish. Some suggest they could have been reflections from phosphorescent marine life, distorted by the water and appearing to move erratically. Others propose they were caused by some sort of underwater seismic activity. And of course, the believers in the paranormal point to the possibility of submerged objects, or even, you guessed it, underwater alien activity. The lack of a definitive answer continues to fuel the mystery. It's important to remember the context in which Columbus was making these observations. He and his crew were sailing into uncharted waters, relying on relatively primitive navigational tools. They were at the mercy of the elements, facing dangers both known and unknown. Superstition was rife, and the line between the natural world and the supernatural was often blurred. So, it's understandable that these strange occurrences, however explainable they might be today, would have been interpreted as something significant, perhaps even ominous. Now, some skeptics argue that Columbus's accounts are unreliable, that he may have exaggerated or embellished his stories to impress the Spanish monarchs who were funding his expedition. It's true that Columbus was a skilled self-promoter, and he certainly had a vested interest in portraying his voyages as successful and groundbreaking. But even if we take his accounts with a grain of salt, the fact remains that he documented these anomalies while traversing the area now known as the Bermuda Triangle. His first-hand observations provide a valuable, albeit enigmatic, glimpse into the early history of this mysterious region. Whether these events were caused by natural phenomena, navigational errors, or something entirely more mysterious, Columbus's journey through the Bermuda Triangle serves as a fascinating starting point for our investigation. It reminds us that the mysteries of this region have captivated sailors and explorers for centuries, and that the search for answers continues to this day. He may have set sail looking for a new route to the Indies, but he unwittingly also sailed into one of the world's most enduring enigmas. And as we continue our exploration of the Bermuda Triangle, we'll see that Columbus's experience was just the first chapter in a long and fascinating story. So, batten down the hatches and prepare for more tales of unexplained disappearances, strange phenomena, and the enduring mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. In December 1945, the world was still breathing a collective sigh of relief after the end of World War II. But the sense of peacetime, tranquility, was about to be shattered by an event that would ignite decades of speculation and cement the Bermuda Triangle's place in the public consciousness. The disappearance of Flight 19. Flight 19 was a routine training mission. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, each carrying a crew of 3, took off from Naval Air Station, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. On the afternoon of December 5th, the mission was a standard navigation exercise. A navigational problem number 1, designed to give trainee pilots experience in overwater navigation and bombing runs. The lead pilot, Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, was an experienced aviator with over 2,500 flying hours under his belt. A veteran of multiple combat missions in the Pacific during the war, he was familiar with the area and considered a competent and reliable officer. The other pilots were trainees, still honing their skills, but under Taylor's experienced guidance, the mission was expected to be straightforward. The flight plan was simple: a roughly triangular route, flying east from Fort Lauderdale for about 120 miles, conducting bombing practice at a location known as Hen and Chickens Shoals, then flying north for 73 miles, and finally returning southwest for 120 miles back to base. The weather that day was reported as favorable, with clear skies and calm seas. Everything seemed normal at first. The bombing run at Hen and Chicken Shoals went as planned. But then, something went horribly wrong. Around 3:40 p.m., less than 2 hours after the start of the mission, radio operators at Fort Lauderdale began receiving confused and garbled transmissions from Flight 19. Lieutenant Taylor's voice, usually calm and collected, was filled with a sense of disorientation. He reported that both of his compasses were malfunctioning and that he was unsure of his location. "I don't know where we are," Taylor radioed. "We must have got lost after that last turn." This was the first indication that something was amiss. Compass malfunctions are not uncommon, but for both compasses to fail simultaneously was unusual, especially on multiple aircraft within the same formation. And the fact that an experienced pilot like Taylor was admitting to being lost was deeply concerning. As the afternoon wore on, the situation grew increasingly desperate. The radio transmissions became more erratic, filled with static and interference. The pilots were clearly lost and confused, their attempts to regain their bearings hampered by the failing compasses and the increasingly deteriorating weather conditions. Adding to the confusion, Taylor seemed to be convinced that they were over. The Florida Keys, islands southwest of Florida. He ordered the flight to head east, believing that this would take them back to the mainland. In reality, heading east would have taken them further out into the Atlantic Ocean. Other pilots in the squadron questioned Taylor's decision, suggesting they should fly west. However, Taylor, as the flight leader, maintained his course. This decision, based on a perceived location that was incorrect, would ultimately prove fatal. The naval base tried desperately to guide Flight 19 back to safety. They attempted to triangulate their position using radio signals, but the signals were weak and unreliable. They even scrambled a PBM Mariner flying boat, a large seaplane designed for long-range search and rescue operations, to try and locate the lost squadron. Tragically, the PBM Mariner, designated Training 49, also disappeared shortly after takeoff. A nearby tanker reported seeing a mid-air explosion and an oil slick in the area where the Mariner was last heard from, suggesting a catastrophic mechanical failure. All 13 crew members on board were lost as darkness fell. The search for Flight 19 and the Mariner intensified. Navy ships, aircraft, and civilian vessels scoured the ocean, battling worsening weather conditions. But despite their best efforts, no trace of the 5 Avengers or their 14 crew members was ever found. They had vanished without a trace. The disappearance of Flight 19 and the loss of the search plane sent shockwaves through the nation. The Navy launched a formal investigation, which concluded that the probable cause of the incident was pilot error. The report cited Lieutenant Taylor's disorientation and faulty decision-making as contributing factors, exacerbated by the malfunctioning compasses. However, the Navy's explanation failed to satisfy many people. How could an experienced pilot like Taylor become so completely lost? Why did both compasses fail simultaneously on multiple aircraft? And what caused the sudden disappearance of the Mariner's search plane? The lack of concrete answers fueled speculation and conspiracy theories. The Bermuda Triangle, already a subject of maritime lore and unexplained disappearances, quickly became the prime suspect. Initial theories, often fueled by the sensationalism of the era, pointed to magnetic anomalies, sudden and unpredictable shifts in the Earth's magnetic field that could disorient pilots and cause compasses to malfunction. The idea was that the Bermuda Triangle was a region of intense magnetic instability, where navigational instruments were rendered useless, leading to confusion and ultimately disaster. Other, more outlandish theories emerged, invoking supernatural forces or even extraterrestrial intervention. Some suggested that the Bermuda Triangle was a portal to another dimension, a place where ships and aircraft were sucked into a time warp or transported to another world. Others claimed that the area was a hotbed of UFO activity with alien spacecraft responsible for the disappearances. While these theories captured the public imagination, they lacked any credible evidence. Nevertheless, they contributed to the growing mystique surrounding the Bermuda Triangle and cemented its reputation as a place of unexplained phenomena. The disappearance of Tira, Flight 19, remains one of the most enduring mysteries associated with the Bermuda Triangle. It's a tragedy that continues to fascinate and intrigue, a reminder of the dangers of the sea and the limits of human understanding. And it serves as a potent symbol of the Bermuda Triangle's enduring allure, a place where the boundaries between reality and the unknown seem to blur, and where the mysteries of the deep continue to defy explanation. So, how did the Bermuda Triangle transition from a vaguely unsettling patch of ocean to a full-blown legend, captivating imaginations and fueling countless stories of the unexplained? Well, it all boils down to the power of popular books and media. The term Bermuda Triangle itself wasn't widely used until the mid-20th century, but the seeds of the myth were sown much earlier. It was the printed word, and later film and television, that truly solidified its place in our collective consciousness. One of the earliest and most influential articles to popularize the mystery was written by E.V.W. Jones, a journalist for the Associated Press, in 1950. Jones published a piece detailing a number of unexplained disappearances in the area, highlighting the unusual concentration of lost ships and aircraft. While Jones didn't explicitly invoke supernatural causes, he did emphasize the baffling nature of these events, painting a picture of a region where things mysteriously vanished without a trace. This article, syndicated widely, was arguably the catalyst that brought the Bermuda Triangle into the mainstream public eye. But it was Vincent Gaddis's 1964 article in Argosy magazine, titled "The Deadly Bermuda Triangle," that truly cemented the name and the mystique. Gaddis, a writer known for his interest in paranormal phenomena, took Jones's work a step further, weaving a narrative of unexplained forces and hinting at possible extraterrestrial involvement. He compiled a list of incidents, adding a layer of intrigue. This article is considered a cornerstone of the Bermuda Triangle mythos, providing a foundation for future books and documentaries. And then came the books, the real engines of the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon. Charles Berlitz's The Bermuda Triangle, published in 1974, became an international bestseller. Berlitz, known for his books on unexplained mysteries presented a compelling, if highly sensationalized, account of the area's disappearances. He attributed the losses to everything from Atlantis technology to time warps and even malevolent forces, leaving no stone unturned in his quest for the extraordinary. Berlitz's book was a masterclass in storytelling, blending factual accounts with speculative theories and creating a narrative that was impossible to resist. It painted the Bermuda Triangle as a vortex of the unknown, a place where the laws of physics seemed to bend and break. The book's success was enormous, selling millions of copies and solidifying the Bermuda Triangle's status as a global mystery. The impact of Berlitz's book cannot be overstated. It spawned a wave of similar publications, each offering their own unique theories and interpretations of the disappearances. Authors like John Wallace, Spencer, Richard Weiner, and Adkent Thomas Jeffrey all contributed to the growing body of Bermuda Triangle literature, adding their own layers of speculation and reinforcing the myth for new generations of readers. These books, while entertaining, often relied on selective reporting and exaggeration. They frequently omitted crucial details about weather conditions, mechanical failures, or human error, presenting a skewed and incomplete picture of the events. They also tended to repeat the same stories, often embellishing them with each retelling, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of misinformation. But the influence of the Bermuda Triangle myth extended far beyond the printed page. The area soon became a staple of film and television, appearing in documentaries, movies, and even animated series. These visual representations further amplified the mystery, bringing the Bermuda Triangle to an even wider audience. Films like The Bermuda Triangle 1975 and Triangle 2009 exploited the fear and fascination surrounding the area, depicting it as a dangerous and unpredictable realm. Documentaries, often featuring dramatic reenactments and expert interviews, explored the various theories and legends associated with the Bermuda Triangle, further fueling public interest. Even cartoons like Scooby-Doo and the Herculoids featured episodes set in the Bermuda Triangle, introducing the mystery to young audiences and cementing its place in popular culture. The media's portrayal of the Bermuda Triangle, whether in books, films, or television shows, played a crucial role in shaping public perception. By focusing on the unexplained and sensationalizing the events, the media created a narrative that was far more compelling than the reality. The Bermuda Triangle became a symbol of the unknown, a place where anything was possible and where the laws of nature seemed to hold no sway. This constant exposure in popular culture ensured that the Bermuda Triangle remained a topic of conversation and speculation for decades. It became a convenient explanation for any unexplained disappearance, regardless of whether it actually occurred within the designated area. The myth became so ingrained in our collective consciousness that it often overshadowed the more mundane explanations for the losses, such as bad weather, faulty equipment, or human error. In essence, the development of the Bermuda Triangle myth was a perfect storm of media sensationalism, speculative theories, and public fascination with the unexplained. It serves as a powerful reminder of the influence that popular culture can have on shaping our understanding of the world, and the importance of critical thinking when evaluating extraordinary claims. But now, let's pull back the curtain and examine the hard data. The statistical analysis that attempts to either confirm or debunk the enduring mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. Is it really a vortex of disappearances, or just a well-marketed myth? All right, let's tackle one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. The idea that it's some kind of statistically abnormal hotspot for disappearances. The popular narrative paints a picture of ships and planes vanishing at a rate far exceeding any other region in the world. But when we put these claims under the cold, hard light of statistical analysis, the picture becomes, well, significantly less sensational. The problem with the Bermuda Triangle myth isn't the disappearances themselves. It's the interpretation of those disappearances. Think about it. We're dealing with a very busy patch of ocean. The Bermuda Triangle encompasses some of the most frequently traveled shipping lanes in the world. It's a major thoroughfare for commercial vessels, cruise ships, private yachts, and aircraft heading between the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean. So, logically, wouldn't we expect more incidents to occur in a heavily trafficked area simply due to the sheer volume of traffic? It's like saying there are more car accidents on a major highway than on a country road. It's not necessarily because the highway is inherently more dangerous. It's because there are simply more cars on it. Several organizations, including the U.S. Coast Guard, Lloyd's of London, and various insurance companies, have conducted comprehensive statistical analyses of reported incidents within the Bermuda Triangle compared to other regions of comparable size and traffic density. And what have they found? The answer might surprise you. These studies consistently show that the rate of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is not significantly higher, and in some cases, even slightly lower than in other equally busy areas of the ocean. That's right. Despite the sensational stories, the data simply doesn't support the claim that the Bermuda Triangle is an unusually dangerous place. Let's dig a little deeper into the numbers. An aircraft passing through the area, weather conditions, and the overall frequency of maritime and aviation incidents worldwide. The Bermuda Triangle doesn't stand out as a statistical anomaly. It falls within the expected range of incidence for a region with its characteristics. One common argument made by proponents of the Bermuda Triangle mystery is that the disappearances are somehow unexplained or mysterious. But even this claim falls apart under scrutiny. Many of the disappearances attributed to the Bermuda Triangle occurred during severe weather events such as hurricanes. And as we'll explore later, the area is indeed prone to unpredictable and intense weather. Consider this: a small aircraft caught in a sudden squall or a powerful hurricane has a significantly higher chance of going down, regardless of whether it's flying over the Bermuda Triangle or anywhere else. And in many cases, these incidents are classified as unexplained simply because the wreckage is never found. The ocean is a vast and unforgiving environment, and recovering debris from a sunken vessel or aircraft can be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, especially in deep water or during turbulent conditions. Furthermore, a lot of the older mysterious disappearances attributed to the Bermuda Triangle happened in a time when navigation technology was far less advanced than it is today. Before the advent of GPS, radar, and sophisticated weather forecasting, ships and planes were much more vulnerable to navigational errors, mechanical failures, and sudden changes in weather. Human error, coupled with less reliable technology, likely accounts for a significant portion of the historical disappearances within the area. Another important point to consider is the potential for reporting bias. The very notoriety of the Bermuda Triangle could lead to a higher likelihood of incidents within that area being reported and attributed to some kind of mysterious force. A similar incident occurring outside the triangle might be dismissed as a simple accident, while one within its boundaries is immediately labeled as another piece of the puzzle. Essentially, the Bermuda Triangle has become a cultural boogeyman. Any unexplained disappearance within its boundaries is automatically linked to the myth, regardless of the actual circumstances. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where the legend feeds itself and reinforces the perception of the area as uniquely dangerous. It's also worth noting that many of the stories surrounding the Bermuda Triangle are based on anecdotal evidence, rumors, and outright fabrications. Over the years, countless books, articles, and documentaries have sensationalized the events within the area, often exaggerating the details and omitting crucial information. This has contributed to a distorted view of the Bermuda Triangle as a place of inexplicable disappearances. When researchers have gone back and investigated these cases, they've often found inaccuracies, inconsistencies, or even complete lack of evidence to support the claims. It turns out that many of the most famous Bermuda Triangle stories are either based on misunderstandings, exaggerations, or pure fiction, So, what's the takeaway here? The statistical evidence simply doesn't support the idea that the Bermuda Triangle is an unusually dangerous place. The rate of disappearances is comparable to other heavily trafficked areas of the ocean. And many of the incidents can be attributed to factors like severe weather, human error, mechanical failures, and the challenges of search and rescue operations. In a vast and unforgiving environment. While the Bermuda Triangle may hold a certain romantic appeal, conjuring up images of mysterious forces and unexplained disappearances, the reality is far more mundane. It's a region of the ocean, like any other, subject to the same natural forces and human fallibilities. The myth of the Bermuda Triangle, it seems, is more a product of human imagination than a reflection of actual statistical reality. The numbers don't lie, and they're telling us a much different story than the one we've all been led to believe. Okay, so we've established the Bermuda Triangle's infamous reputation, a reputation built on disappearances and the unexplained. But is this reputation truly deserved? Is the area genuinely more dangerous than any other stretch of ocean? Or have we been, shall we say, misled by a carefully constructed narrative? A narrative that thrives on sensationalism and ignores readily available facts. That's what we're going to explore in this section. We're going to dive headfirst into the evidence that suggests the Bermuda Triangle's dangers have been significantly exaggerated, inflated by misinformation, and perpetuated by a public all too willing to believe in a good mystery. One of the biggest problems with the Bermuda Triangle narrative is the rather lax definition of the area itself. The boundaries, you see, are entirely arbitrary. There's no internationally recognized, scientifically defined Bermuda Triangle. The term was coined and popularized by writers and journalists, not by cartographers or oceanographers. Some definitions are smaller, some are larger, and some are downright, well, let's just say creative, conveniently expanding or shrinking to encompass whatever mysterious disappearance they happen to be focusing on at the time. This lack of a fixed boundary is crucial because it allows for selective inclusion. If a plane goes down hundreds of miles outside one definition of the triangle, but within another, boom, it becomes another data point in the Bermuda Triangle mystery. It's like drawing a circle around a cluster of events after they've already happened, and then claiming the circle proves a connection. It's a flawed methodology, to say the least. Then there's the issue of the data itself. Many of the mysterious disappearances attributed to the Bermuda Triangle are, upon closer examination, not so mysterious at all. Often, key details are omitted, distorted, or outright fabricated to enhance the intrigue. A common tactic is to present only the fact of the disappearance, conveniently leaving out crucial contextual information. For example, consider a missing ship. The narrative might focus on the ship vanishing without a trace, implying some supernatural force at play. But what if the ship was old, poorly maintained, sailing through known storm zones, or operated by an inexperienced crew? What if distress signals were sent indicating mechanical problems before communications were lost? These are vital pieces of information, yet they're often conveniently left out of the Bermuda Triangle narratives. Why? Because they offer rational explanations. And rational explanations don't sell books or attract viewers. Another problem is the reliance on anecdotal evidence. The Bermuda Triangle myth is largely built on individual stories of disappearances, passed down through generations and embellished along the way. While these stories can be compelling, they are not a substitute for rigorous statistical analysis. Anecdotes are, by their very nature, susceptible to bias, exaggeration, and simple human error. Memory is fallible. Stories get retold and altered over time, and witnesses may have had incomplete or inaccurate information to begin with. Furthermore, many of the older accounts of disappearances lack proper documentation. Information is often secondhand, filtered through multiple sources, and impossible to verify. Trying to draw definitive conclusions from such unreliable data is, well, it's like trying to build a house on quicksand. So, what happens when we apply actual statistical analysis to the Bermuda Triangle? Several studies have compared the rate of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle to that of other heavily trafficked areas of the ocean. And guess what? The results consistently show that the Bermuda Triangle is not significantly more dangerous than any other comparable area. The U.S. Coast Guard, for example, has repeatedly stated that there's no evidence to suggest that disappearances occur more frequently in the Bermuda Triangle than in other areas with similar maritime and aviation traffic. Lloyd's of London, the world's leading insurance market, has also found no statistically significant difference in loss rates between the Bermuda Triangle and other regions. These findings are crucial because they challenge the very foundation of the Bermuda Triangle myth. They suggest that the perceived danger is not inherent to the area itself, but rather a product of other factors such as high traffic volume, unpredictable weather, and the simple laws of probability. The more ships and planes that pass through an area, the more likely it is that some will encounter problems, and, sadly, some will disappear. Now, let's talk about the role of popular culture in perpetuating the Bermuda Triangle myth. Books, movies, documentaries, and television shows have all played a significant role in shaping public perception. These media often prioritize sensationalism over accuracy. presenting exaggerated accounts of disappearances and promoting speculative theories without any scientific basis. Think about it. How many documentaries have you seen about the Bermuda Triangle that actually present a balanced and objective analysis of the evidence? How many movies focus on rational explanations rather than supernatural forces? The answer, of course, is not many, because, again, mystery sells. These fictionalized or sensationalized portrayals have created a self-perpetuating cycle. The more the Bermuda Triangle is depicted as a mysterious and dangerous place, the more people believe it to be true, and the more demand there is for stories about it, regardless of their factual accuracy. And finally, let's address the issue of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out, interpret, and remember information that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs. In the case of the Bermuda Triangle, many people are predisposed to believe in the myth, and they actively seek out information that supports their belief, while ignoring or dismissing information that contradicts it. This can lead to a distorted perception of reality, where anecdotal evidence is given undue weight, statistical data is misinterpreted, and rational explanations are dismissed out of hand. It's a classic example of how belief can shape perception rather than the other way around. So, what's the takeaway here? Is the Bermuda Triangle completely harmless? Of course not. It's a busy stretch of ocean with challenging weather conditions, just like many other places on Earth. But the evidence strongly suggests that its reputation as a uniquely dangerous area is largely unfounded, a product of exaggeration, misinformation, and a healthy dose of human imagination. It's time to look past the myth and consider the more mundane, but far more likely, explanations for the disappearances that have occurred there. Because sometimes the truth is far less exciting than the fiction, but it's still worth pursuing. All right, let's navigate the turbulent weather that swirls within the Bermuda Triangle. It's easy to jump to paranormal explanations, but the truth, while still dramatic, is rooted in well-understood, albeit powerful, natural phenomena. We're talking hurricanes, the Gulf Stream, and rogue waves, a trifecta of maritime challenges that can test even the most seasoned sailors. First, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the hurricane in the Atlantic. The Bermuda Triangle lies squarely within the Atlantic hurricane belt. This region is a breeding ground for these massive storms, particularly during the late summer and early fall months. Warm ocean waters, low wind shear, and atmospheric instability all contribute to the formation and intensification of hurricanes. These aren't just your average thunderstorms. Hurricanes are colossal rotating storms with sustained winds of at least 74 miles per hour. They can span hundreds of miles in diameter, generating massive waves, torrential rainfall, and devastating storm surges. Imagine a ship caught in the path of a hurricane. The immense waves can easily overwhelm even large vessels. The ferocious winds can tear apart sails and rigging, and the heavy rain can reduce visibility to near zero. Historically, navigation relied heavily on visual cues and celestial navigation. A sudden encounter with a hurricane could throw a ship hopelessly off course, making it difficult to determine its location and increasing the risk of running aground on reefs or shoals. Even today, with advanced navigational technology, hurricanes pose a significant threat to maritime traffic. Modern ships are equipped with radar, GPS, and weather forecasting tools. But these systems can be compromised by the extreme conditions within a hurricane. Radar signals can be scattered by heavy rain. GPS signals can be lost during intense electrical storms, and weather forecasts, while generally accurate, are not always perfect. Consider the impact of a hurricane on a smaller vessel, like a yacht or a fishing boat. These vessels are far more vulnerable to the elements. A rogue wave, amplified by the storm's energy, could easily capsize a smaller boat, leaving the crew struggling to survive in the turbulent waters. The potential for mechanical failure due to the storm's impact and the odds of survival diminish rapidly. And it's not just the direct impact of the hurricane itself. The aftermath can be equally dangerous. Navigation hazards, such as debris and damaged buoys, can linger for days or even weeks after the storm has passed. Strong currents generated by the hurricane can persist for extended periods, pushing ships off course and making rescue operations difficult. Next, we need to understand the Gulf Stream. This is a powerful, warm, and swift Atlantic Ocean current that originates in the Gulf of Mexico, flows up the eastern coastline of the United States, and then heads towards Europe. It's essentially a giant river of warm water flowing through the ocean. The Gulf Stream has a significant impact on the climate and weather patterns of the regions it passes through. It moderates temperatures in Western Europe, making it much milder than other areas at similar latitudes. It also plays a crucial role in the distribution of heat around the globe. Within the Bermuda Triangle, the Gulf Stream flows northeastward, creating strong currents that can significantly affect maritime navigation. These currents can reach speeds of up to 5 knots, or about 6 miles per hour. That might not sound like much, but it can have a substantial impact on a ship's course, especially for smaller vessels or those relying on older navigational techniques. Imagine a sailing ship trying to navigate against the Gulf Stream. The strong current could push the ship miles off course, potentially leading it into hazardous areas or making it difficult to reach its intended destination. Even modern ships can be affected by the Gulf Stream, particularly when navigating in poor visibility or during adverse weather conditions. The Gulf Stream also contributes to the formation of eddies and whirlpools, which can further complicate navigation. These swirling currents can be unpredictable and can create localized areas of turbulence and strong shear. A ship caught in a whirlpool could be spun around and disoriented, making it difficult to maintain course or avoid collisions. Furthermore, the temperature difference between the warm waters of the Gulf Stream and the cooler waters of the surrounding ocean can create areas of fog and reduced visibility. This can make navigation even more challenging, particularly at night or during periods of heavy weather. Finally, let's talk about rogue waves. These are massive, unpredictable waves that can appear seemingly out of nowhere. They are significantly larger than the surrounding waves and can pose a serious threat to ships of all sizes. Rogue waves are not caused by tsunamis or seismic activity. Instead, they are typically formed by the constructive interference of multiple waves. When several waves combine in phase, their amplitudes add together, creating a much larger wave. This phenomenon is known as wave superposition. There are several factors that can contribute to the formation of rogue waves. Strong currents, such as the Gulf Stream, can focus wave energy, increasing the likelihood of wave superposition. Wind patterns can also play a role, with strong winds blowing in the same direction as the waves, further amplifying their size. The Bermuda Triangle is considered a hotspot for rogue waves due to the convergence of these factors. The Gulf Stream, the prevalence of hurricanes, and the complex bathymetry of the region all contribute to the formation of these unpredictable monsters. Historically, rogue waves were considered to be maritime folklore, dismissed as tall tales by sailors. However, in recent years, scientists have confirmed the existence of rogue waves through satellite observations and measurements from wave buoys. The Dropner wave, measured in the North Sea in 1995, was one of the first confirmed rogue waves. It was over 80 feet tall, more than twice the height of the surrounding waves. A rogue wave can easily overwhelm a ship, even a large one. The sheer force of the water can cause structural damage, capsize the vessel, or sweep crew members overboard. Smaller vessels are particularly vulnerable, as they may not be able to withstand the impact of such a massive wave. The combination of hurricanes, the Gulf Stream, and rogue waves creates a challenging and potentially hazardous environment for maritime navigation within the Bermuda Triangle. These natural phenomena, while not mysterious or supernatural, can certainly contribute to accidents and disappearances at sea. They serve as a reminder of the power of nature and the importance of respecting the forces of the ocean. They don't explain every disappearance, but they certainly play a significant role in understanding the risks associated with navigating this area. All right, let's dive into some potential explanations for the Bermuda Triangle's mystique that are rooted in good old Earth science, geophysical phenomena. Specifically, we're going to explore the roles that methane hydrates and magnetic anomalies may play in contributing to the strange happenings reported in this region. First up, methane hydrates. These are essentially ice-like solids in which methane, a flammable gas, is trapped within the crystal structure of water molecules. They form under conditions of low temperature and high pressure, commonly found on continental slopes and in permafrost regions, including, you guessed it, the seabed within and around the Bermuda Triangle. Now, you might be thinking, okay, interesting science lesson, but what does frozen gas have to do with disappearing ships and planes? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Imagine a scenario where these methane hydrates, stable under normal conditions, become destabilized. This could be triggered by a number of factors: changes in ocean temperature, seismic activity, or even just the gradual accumulation of sediment above them. When destabilized, the methane hydrate rapidly decomposes, releasing vast plumes of methane gas into the surrounding water. These plumes then rise towards the surface. And that's where the trouble can really begin. Think about a ship sailing over a massive methane plume. The sudden influx of gas significantly reduces the density of the water. In extreme cases, it can create a temporary region of what is essentially bubbly, aerated water. A ship relying on buoyancy suddenly finds itself without enough support. It's like trying to float in foam rather than water. The vessel could quickly lose buoyancy and sink, possibly without even sending out a distress signal, leaving little to no trace behind. But what about airplanes? How could methane hydrates explain aerial disappearances? Well, while a direct impact from a methane plume on an aircraft seems unlikely, some scientists have proposed a more indirect effect: a massive release of methane into the atmosphere could potentially cause temporary but significant drops in air density. This could affect an aircraft's lift and potentially cause engine malfunctions, especially in older aircraft less equipped to handle such rapid changes in atmospheric conditions. Imagine suddenly flying into a pocket of much thinner air. It could be enough to cause an unexpected stall or other dangerous situation. Now, it's important to note that the methane hydrate hypothesis is still a subject of ongoing debate. There's no definitive proof that these types of events are directly responsible for the disappearances within the Bermuda Triangle. But the geological conditions are right, and the potential for catastrophic releases certainly exists. It's a plausible explanation that aligns with known scientific principles. Let's switch gears and talk about magnetic anomalies. The Earth is surrounded by a magnetic field, which is crucial for navigation, allowing compasses to point towards magnetic north. However, this magnetic field isn't uniform. It varies in strength and direction across the globe. And in some areas, these variations, known as magnetic anomalies, can be quite significant. The Bermuda Triangle is one such region. While it's not the only area with magnetic anomalies, it does exhibit some interesting magnetic characteristics. Some researchers propose that these anomalies could interfere with navigational instruments, leading to errors and potentially contributing to accidents. Think about it. If a compass is giving inaccurate readings, even by a few degrees, it could throw a ship or aircraft significantly off course, especially over long distances. Combine that with bad weather, strong currents, or human error, and you have a recipe for disaster. Now, some of the older theories suggested that the magnetic anomalies in the Bermuda Triangle are so strong that they can completely disable compasses, causing them to spin uncontrollably. However, modern research suggests that this is unlikely. The magnetic variations, while present, are generally not strong enough to cause such a dramatic effect on properly functioning equipment. A more plausible scenario is that the anomalies create subtle errors that, over time, compound and lead to navigational mistakes. Imagine a pilot relying on instruments that are consistently slightly off. They might gradually deviate from their intended course without realizing it until it's too late. Another factor to consider is the potential for magnetic storms. These are disturbances in the Earth's magnetosphere caused by solar activity. During a magnetic storm, the magnetic field can fluctuate rapidly and dramatically, potentially interfering with radio communications and GPS signals, which are increasingly relied upon for navigation. If a ship or aircraft were to experience a sudden loss of communication or GPS signal due to a magnetic storm while navigating through an area with existing magnetic anomalies, it could become disoriented and potentially lost. It's also worth noting that the Earth's magnetic field is constantly changing. The magnetic poles are drifting, and the strength of the field varies over time. These changes could potentially exacerbate existing magnetic anomalies or create new ones, making navigation in certain areas even more challenging. However, like the methane hydrate theory, the magnetic anomaly explanation isn't without its critics. Skeptics argue that modern navigational equipment is sophisticated enough to compensate for these variations, and that experienced pilots and sailors are trained to deal with such issues. Furthermore, accurate magnetic charts are available, allowing navigators to correct for magnetic declination the difference between true north and magnetic north. So, while magnetic anomalies may play a role, they are unlikely to be the sole cause of the disappearances attributed to the Bermuda Triangle. So, what's the takeaway here? Both methane hydrates and magnetic anomalies are plausible geophysical factors that could contribute to the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. They offer potential explanations for how ships and planes could encounter unforeseen dangers in this region. However, it's important to remember that these are just two pieces of the puzzle. The Bermuda Triangle is a complex area with a variety of environmental factors at play, and it's likely that a combination of these factors, along with human error and other variables, are responsible for the reported disappearances. In the next section, we'll explore some of these other factors, including weather anomalies and human error and mechanical failure. All right. Let's talk about something that often gets lost in the sensationalism surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. Good old-fashioned human error and mechanical failure. While stories of magnetic anomalies and rogue waves capture the imagination, the reality is that these factors, often intertwined, play a significant and frequently underestimated role in many of the reported disappearances. Let's be honest, the sea and the sky are unforgiving environments. They demand precision, expertise, and unwavering attention to detail. Even with the most advanced technology, humans are still fallible, and machines, despite their sophistication, can and do break down. It's a simple truth, but one that is crucial to understanding the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. Think about it. Navigation, even in the modern era, is not foolproof. GPS systems can malfunction, charts can be misread, and pilots or captains can become disoriented, especially in challenging weather conditions. The Bermuda Triangle, with its unpredictable weather patterns and strong currents, only amplifies these inherent risks. A small navigational error can quickly snowball into a major crisis, especially when visibility is poor or communication systems are compromised. Then there's the human element of fatigue. Long voyages, whether by air or sea, can be physically and mentally exhausting. Fatigue impairs judgment, slows reaction times, and increases the likelihood of mistakes. A tired pilot might misinterpret an instrument reading, or a weary captain might delay a crucial course correction. These seemingly small lapses in judgment can have catastrophic consequences, particularly in an environment where margins for error are slim. We can't forget the impact of stress either. The pressures of deadlines, cargo responsibilities, or even personal issues can weigh heavily on those in command. further increasing the risk of errors. Now, let's consider mechanical failure. Aircraft and ships are complex machines composed of thousands of intricate parts, any one of which can fail. Engine trouble, electrical malfunctions, hydraulic system failures. These are all potential hazards that can lead to disaster, regardless of location. And within the Bermuda Triangle, the chances of survival following a mechanical breakdown can be significantly reduced due to the strong currents, unpredictable weather, and the sheer vastness of the ocean. Think about the impact of a sudden engine failure on a small aircraft flying over the open ocean. The pilot has only a limited time to react, to attempt a controlled ditching, and to radio for help. If the plane is far from land, or if the weather is poor, the chances of a successful rescue are dramatically diminished. Similarly, a ship experiencing a critical mechanical failure, such as a loss of steering or a breach in the hull, can quickly find itself in dire straits, especially if it's caught in a storm or strong current. What's more, the very environment of the Bermuda Triangle can contribute to mechanical failures. The salty air and corrosive seawater can accelerate the degradation of metal components, increasing the risk of breakdowns. Inadequate maintenance, whether due to budget constraints, time pressures, or simple negligence, can further exacerbate these problems. A poorly maintained engine is far more likely to fail than one that has been regularly serviced and inspected. And let's not forget the impact of cargo. Improperly loaded or secured cargo can shift during a voyage, destabilizing a ship or aircraft and leading to a loss of control. Overloading, whether intentional or accidental, can also put undue stress on a vessel's structure and machinery, increasing the risk of failure. A seemingly minor oversight in cargo management can have disastrous results. The issue is that, in many cases, these factors, human error and mechanical failure, are difficult to definitively prove, especially when an aircraft or ship disappears without a trace. The lack of wreckage, the absence of survivors, and the passage of time can all obscure the true cause of the incident. In the absence of concrete evidence, speculation often fills the void, and the focus shifts to more sensational, albeit less plausible, explanations. It's easy to attribute a disappearance to some mysterious force or unexplained phenomenon. It's much harder to acknowledge the mundane, but often tragic, reality of human fallibility and mechanical limitations. However, ignoring these factors does a disservice to the victims and their families, and it prevents us from learning valuable lessons that could help prevent future tragedies moving forward. It is important to critically examine each incident within the Bermuda Triangle, taking into account all possible contributing factors, including human error and mechanical failure. By doing so, we can move beyond the myths and legends and gain a more realistic understanding of the risks involved in navigating this challenging region. This means investing in better training for pilots and sailors, implementing stricter maintenance standards for aircraft and ships, and improving navigational technologies, ultimately reducing the risks in the Bermuda Triangle or anywhere else. For that matter, requires a commitment to safety, a respect for the power of the environment, and a recognition of the limitations of both humans and machines. While the allure of the unknown will always persist, we must strive to ground our understanding of these events in reason and evidence, acknowledging the often overlooked role of human error and mechanical failure. Because sometimes the most extraordinary explanations are overshadowed by the simplest truths, and those truths, while less exciting, might just save lives. Okay, so you're probably picturing pirates as the stuff of movies, right? Eye patches, parrots, maybe a treasure map or two. And sure, Hollywood's done a pretty good job romanticizing them. But the reality of piracy, especially in an area like the Bermuda Triangle, is far more complex and, let's be honest, a lot darker. We're talking about a very real threat that shaped the history of the region and, arguably, contributed to its reputation as a dangerous place. To understand the role of pirates in the Bermuda Triangle story, we need to dial back the clock way back to the 16th and 17th centuries. This was the heyday of piracy in the Caribbean and the Bermuda Triangle. Strategically located along major shipping routes, became a prime hunting ground. Picture this: Spanish galleons laden with gold and silver from the New World, lumbering their way back to Europe. These were incredibly tempting targets, and pirates knew it. The Bermuda Triangle offered pirates several advantages. Firstly, the numerous islands, cays, and reefs provided perfect hiding places. A pirate ship could lie in wait, concealed from view, ready to pounce on unsuspecting merchant vessels. Secondly, the unpredictable weather patterns in the region, the sudden squalls and storms, could be used to their advantage, either to ambush prey or to escape pursuing naval ships. Finally, the complex currents, especially the Gulf Stream, could help pirates navigate the area quickly and efficiently, allowing them to outmaneuver their targets. Now, who were these pirates? Well, they came from all walks of life. Some were former sailors or privateers, men who had been hired by governments to attack enemy ships during times of war. When the wars ended, many of these privateers turned to piracy, seeing it as a more lucrative, if less legal, profession. Others were escaped slaves, debtors, or simply adventurers seeking fortune and freedom. They were a diverse bunch, united by their desire for wealth and their willingness to take it by force. The most famous pirates, the ones we all know by name, like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and Anne Bonny, they definitely operated in the Caribbean, and it's highly likely their ships sailed through the Bermuda Triangle. Blackbeard, with his fearsome reputation and theatrical flair, was a master of intimidation. Calico Jack Rackham, known for his flamboyant style, sailed alongside two of history's most famous female pirates, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. These individuals and their crews terrorized the seas, plundering ships and raiding coastal settlements. Pirate activity in the Bermuda Triangle had a significant impact on the region. It disrupted trade, discouraged settlement, and created a climate of fear and insecurity. Ships had to travel in convoys, escorted by naval vessels to protect themselves from attack. Coastal communities built fortifications to defend against pirate raids. The cost of insurance for ships sailing through the area skyrocketed, and it wasn't just the financial impact. The constant threat of piracy took a toll on people's lives. Sailors faced the risk of capture, torture, or death. Coastal communities lived in constant fear of attack. Piracy was a brutal and violent business, and its legacy is still felt in the region today. But what does all this have to do with the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle? Well, some people believe that pirate activity may have contributed to some of the disappearances and shipwrecks that have occurred in the area. A ship that vanished without a trace could have been captured by pirates, its crew killed or enslaved, and its hull deliberately sunk to hide the evidence. A sudden storm could have overwhelmed a damaged ship, leaving no survivors to tell the tale. It's important to note that there's no definitive proof that pirates were responsible for all the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. Many other factors, such as weather, navigational errors, and mechanical failures, could also have played a role. However, the historical presence of pirates in the region cannot be ignored. They were a real and significant threat, and their activities likely contributed to the area's reputation as a dangerous and unpredictable place. Think about it. A ship caught in a sudden squall is already struggling. Pirates attack, disabling the ship and killing the crew. A larger wave capsizes the vessel, and it sinks quickly. By the time any search parties are organized, there's absolutely nothing left to find. No wreckage, no survivors, just an empty expanse of ocean. This scenario, while hypothetical, is entirely plausible. Furthermore, the chaos and violence associated with piracy could have obscured the true causes of some maritime disasters. If a ship was lost during a pirate attack Focus would naturally be on the pirates, not on other potential factors like faulty equipment or navigational errors. This could have led to an incomplete or inaccurate understanding of what actually happened. So, while we can't say for certain that pirates are responsible for all the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle, their historical presence and their violent activities certainly add another layer of complexity to the story. They were a force to be reckoned with, and their impact on the region should not be underestimated. The age of piracy might be long gone, but its shadow still lingers in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle, a reminder of a time when danger lurked around every corner and the sea was a lawless frontier. It's a grim chapter in history, but one that helps us understand the enduring allure and the very real dangers of this enigmatic place, the Sargasso Sea. Even the name evokes a sense of mystery, a realm apart from the ordinary ocean. And it's true, this unique body of water, nestled within the Bermuda Triangle, is an ecosystem unlike almost any other on Earth. It's a place defined by its stillness, its warmth, and its seaweed. Lots and lots of seaweed. But before we dive into the specifics, let's clarify something. The Sargasso Sea isn't defined by land boundaries like most seas. Instead, it's bordered by four powerful ocean currents: the Gulf Stream to the west, the North Atlantic Current to the north, the Canary Current to the east, and the North Atlantic Equatorial Current to the south. These currents, like a giant, slow-motion whirlpool, create a vast, relatively calm oasis in the middle of the Atlantic. It's this unique confluence of currents that defines the Sargasso Sea, setting it apart from the surrounding ocean. Think of it like this. Imagine a swimming pool where the water is constantly circulating around the edges, creating a calm center. That's essentially what's happening in the Sargasso Sea. The currents act as natural boundaries, trapping water and creating a distinct ecosystem. Now, let's talk about the seaweed, sargassum. This free-floating brown algae is the defining characteristic of the Sargasso Sea. Unlike most seaweed, which is anchored to the ocean floor, sargassum drifts freely on the surface, forming vast floating mats that can stretch for miles. These mats, sometimes referred to as golden rainforests of the sea, provide a vital habitat for a wide variety of marine life. Sargassum isn't just any seaweed. It's a complex and dynamic ecosystem in itself. It's held afloat by small, berry-like air bladders, allowing it to thrive on the surface and soak up the sunlight. These floating mats provide shelter, breeding grounds, and feeding opportunities for a multitude of creatures, from tiny invertebrates to large fish and sea turtles. Imagine drifting amongst these golden mats, a haven in the vast open ocean. Young sea turtles still vulnerable and small, find refuge in the sargassum, feeding on the abundant invertebrates and avoiding predators. Commercially important fish, like tuna and mahi-mahi, use the sargassum as nurseries where their young can grow and mature in relative safety. Unique species specifically adapted to this environment, like the sargassum fish with its mottled camouflage and bizarre appendages, cling to the seaweed, blending seamlessly into their surroundings. The sargassum also plays a crucial role in the larger marine ecosystem. It provides food and shelter for migratory species, acting as a vital stopover point for birds and marine mammals traveling across the Atlantic. It also helps to regulate the ocean's chemistry by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen, contributing to the overall health of the planet. But the Sargassum Sea is more than just sargassum. It's a complex web of life, a delicate balance of interconnected species. The clear, blue waters of the Sargasso Sea are also home to a diverse array of plankton, the microscopic plants and animals that form the base of the marine food web. These plankton support a variety of larger organisms, from small fish to jellyfish to whales. The Sargasso Sea is also an important spawning ground for several species of eels, including the American and European eels. These eels undertake incredible migrations, traveling thousands of miles from freshwater rivers in North America and Europe to the Sargasso Sea to reproduce. The larvae then drift back to their respective continents, completing their life cycle. It's a truly remarkable journey, a testament to the resilience and adaptability of these creatures. So, what does all of this have to do with the Bermuda Triangle? Well, the unique environment of the Sargasso Sea could potentially contribute to some of the mysteries surrounding the area. The dense sargassum mats, while providing habitat, can also pose a navigational hazard. Imagine a small boat or aircraft encountering a large, dense mat of seaweed. It could become entangled, slowing its progress or even causing it to become disabled. Furthermore, the Sargasso Sea is known for its periods of extreme calm. The lack of wind and waves can create a disorienting environment, making it difficult for sailors to navigate accurately. This, combined with the potential for sudden storms and strong currents, could contribute to accidents and disappearances. It's important to remember that the Sargasso, in fact, it's a vital and incredibly important ecosystem that deserves our protection. However, its unique characteristics, combined with other factors like weather and human error, could potentially play a role in some of the unexplained events that have occurred within the Bermuda Triangle. And of course, there are the legends, tales of ghostly ships trapped forever in the sargassum, doomed to drift aimlessly across the ocean. While these stories are likely exaggerated, they add to the mystique and allure of the Sargasso Sea. They remind us that the ocean is a vast and powerful force, full of both beauty and danger, and that there are still many mysteries waiting to be unraveled. The Sargasso Sea is a reminder that within the Bermuda Triangle, there exists not just a zone of mystery and potential peril, but also a haven of life. A unique ecosystem that plays a vital role in the health of our planet. It is a place of wonder and complexity, a testament to the power and resilience of nature. Perhaps by understanding its intricacies, we can shed some light on the larger mysteries that surround it. Now, let's turn our attention to yet another potential piece of the puzzle: the role of military activity in the area. The mysteries surrounding the Bermuda Triangle often lead to speculation about natural phenomena and even the supernatural. However, another potential contributing factor, often overlooked, is the significant level of military activity and naval exercises conducted within the area. This isn't to suggest a deliberate cover-up of something more sinister, but rather to examine how these activities might inadvertently contribute to disappearances and navigational challenges. The Bermuda Triangle, by its very location, sits astride major shipping lanes and flight paths. More importantly, it's strategically positioned near several significant military facilities. The United States Navy, in particular, has a long history of operating in the Atlantic, conducting training exercises, weapons testing, and other operations that could potentially impact civilian vessels and aircraft. Consider the vast scale of modern naval exercises. These aren't just a few ships sailing in formation. They often involve dozens of vessels, submarines, aircraft carriers, and numerous aircraft, all operating in a coordinated fashion. These exercises can span hundreds of square miles and involve complex maneuvers, electronic warfare simulations, and live-fire exercises. Now, imagine a small private vessel inadvertently straying into the middle of such an exercise. The potential consequences are significant. Communication disruptions due to electronic warfare training, unexpected underwater explosions from weapons testing, and even collisions with naval vessels are all possibilities, however unlikely they may seem. It's not necessarily about intentional harm. Often, it's simply a matter of a miscommunication, navigational error, or the inherent risks associated with operating in a complex and dynamic environment. Naval exercises, by their nature, create zones of increased risk, and while every effort is made to keep civilian traffic clear, accidents can and do happen. Furthermore, the very nature of military operations often involves a degree of secrecy. Classified activities, experimental technologies, and sensitive training exercises are not typically publicized. This lack of transparency can fuel speculation and conspiracy theories, especially when accidents occur in areas like the Bermuda Triangle, where unexplained disappearances are already a topic of intense interest. Consider the possibility of underwater sonar testing. The Navy uses powerful sonar systems to detect submarines and other underwater threats. These systems emit intense sound waves that can travel for vast distances. While the potential impact of sonar on marine life is well documented, the effects on navigational equipment and even human physiology are less clear. Could intense sonar activity disorient sailors or interfere with electronic navigation systems? It's a question worth considering. Moreover, the Bermuda Triangle has, at times, been used as a testing ground for experimental military technologies. During the Cold War, for example, the U.S. Navy conducted numerous tests of advanced radar systems, sonar equipment, and even experimental aircraft in the region. While the details of these tests are often shrouded in secrecy, it's conceivable that some of them could have contributed to navigational anomalies or unexpected interference. Another aspect to consider is the potential for wreckage from military exercises to remain undiscovered on the seabed. Lost drones, downed aircraft, or even sunken vessels could create navigational hazards that pose a risk to civilian ships and aircraft. The deep waters and strong currents of the Bermuda Triangle make it incredibly difficult to locate and recover such debris, meaning that these hazards could persist for years, even decades. Now, it's important to emphasize that I'm not suggesting the military is solely responsible for all disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. As we've discussed, there are numerous other factors at play, including weather anomalies, human error, and even simple bad luck. However, the significant level of military activity in the area cannot be ignored as a potential contributing factor. The challenge lies in obtaining accurate information. Due to national security concerns, many details of military operations are classified. This makes it difficult to assess the true extent to which these activities might be impacting civilian traffic. However, by acknowledging the presence of these operations and considering their potential consequences, we can gain a more complete understanding of the complex factors that contribute to the Bermuda Triangle mystery. We need to look at this with nuance. We're not talking about some sinister plot, but the complexities of human activity combined with natural forces. High traffic areas, coupled with unpredictable elements, can create the perfect storm of unfortunate events. It's a testament to how even the most rational explanations, like military exercises, can become intertwined with a place already steeped in mystery and intrigue. The very nature of the Bermuda Triangle, it seems, invites further speculation and demands a continued search for answers that may never be fully revealed. What can be confirmed is the large range of military operations conducted, and we need to continue to seek out more facts on these events that may contribute to our understanding of the mystery. All right, let's descend into the depths, not with a submarine this time, but with our understanding. We're shifting our focus from the sky to the seafloor. Specifically, the unique underwater topography that surrounds the Bermuda Triangle. Landscape beneath the waves plays a crucial role in understanding this enigmatic region. And there's one feature in particular that demands our attention. The Puerto Rico Trench. Now, the Puerto Rico Trench isn't just some minor dip in the ocean floor. It's a colossal gash, a deep scar etched into the Earth's crust. It's the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean, plunging down to a staggering 27,500 feet. That's over 5 miles straight down. To put that into perspective, if you were to drop Mount Everest into the Puerto Rico Trench, its peak would still be submerged by well over a mile. Its sheer scale is difficult to comprehend. This immense chasm lies just to the south of the Bermuda Triangle's defined area. And while it's technically outside the commonly accepted boundaries, its influence on the surrounding waters and potentially on events within the triangle itself cannot be ignored. It's like a giant drain influencing the currents and creating unique gravitational and magnetic anomalies that could potentially affect navigation. So, how did this immense trench form? The answer, as is often the case with geological marvels, lies in plate tectonics. The Puerto Rico Trench is located at a complex boundary where the North American and Caribbean tectonic plates meet. Here, the North American plate is being subducted, meaning it's being forced underneath the Caribbean plate. This process of subduction is incredibly powerful, creating immense pressure and stress on the Earth's crust. As the North American plate slides beneath the Caribbean plate, it bends and fractures, creating the deep, elongated depression that we know as the Puerto Rico Trench. But the trench is more than just a geological feature. It's an active zone. Earthquakes are common in this region as the plates grind against each other, releasing pent-up energy. These earthquakes can generate underwater landslides and tsunamis, posing a significant threat to coastal communities and potentially impacting maritime traffic in the area. While no direct link has been scientifically established to the disappearances, it's not beyond reason to consider the effect a rogue tsunami could have on a small vessel. Now, let's consider the trench's influence on ocean currents. The immense depth and unique shape of the trench significantly impact the flow of water in the region. It acts as a channel, guiding deep ocean currents and creating complex eddies and whirlpools These strong currents can be treacherous for ships, particularly smaller vessels, making navigation challenging and potentially contributing to accidents. Furthermore, the trench influences the upwelling of nutrient-rich waters from the deep ocean. This upwelling supports a vibrant ecosystem, attracting marine life and creating a rich feeding ground for larger predators. The gravitational anomalies around the Puerto Rico Trench are also worth noting. The sheer mass of the surrounding rock and the density variations within the Earth's crust create slight variations in the Earth's gravitational field. While these anomalies are generally subtle, they can potentially affect the accuracy of navigational instruments, particularly older, less sophisticated systems. Remember, for a long time, sailors navigated by stars and sextant, not GPS. It is also worth exploring the effect on magnetic fields. The complex geological structure of the trench, with its varying rock types and magnetic properties, can create local magnetic anomalies. These anomalies can interfere with compass readings, potentially leading to navigational errors. While modern ships rely on sophisticated electronic navigation systems, magnetic anomalies could still pose a challenge, especially in situations where those systems malfunction. Now, while we're discussing the Puerto Rico Trench, it's also important to consider the presence of methane hydrates in the region. Methane hydrates are ice-like solids that consist of methane gas trapped within a crystal structure of water molecules. They are found in abundance in deep-sea sediments, particularly in areas with high pressure and low temperatures, conditions that are prevalent in the Puerto Rico Trench. Some theories suggest that sudden releases of methane gas from these hydrates could cause instability on the surface of the water, creating temporary sinkholes or reducing the buoyancy of ships. While this is a speculative theory, it's worth considering as a potential contributing factor to disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, particularly in areas close to the trench. In essence, the Puerto Rico Trench is more than just a deep hole in the ocean. It's a complex geological feature that influences ocean currents, generates seismic activity, creates gravitational and magnetic anomalies, and potentially harbors vast reserves of methane hydrates. All of these factors could either individually or in combination contribute to the challenges and mysteries associated with the Bermuda Triangle. While the exact role of the Puerto Rico Trench in specific incidents within the Bermuda Triangle remains unconfirmed, its proximity and influence cannot be dismissed. It serves as a reminder that the ocean is a dynamic and unpredictable environment, shaped by powerful geological forces that are often hidden beneath the surface. As we continue our exploration of the Bermuda Triangle, it's crucial to remember that the underwater landscape is just as important as the weather patterns and human factors that contribute to the area's mystique. It's a silent, often unseen, player in this enduring maritime enigma. Now, let's pivot into some truly unconventional theories. We've explored the geological, meteorological, and even the human factors that might contribute to the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries. But what about explanations that lie outside the realm of conventional science? What about the whispers of the unexplained, the fringe theories that capture our imagination and hint at forces beyond our current understanding? Today, we ask, could extraterrestrial activity be involved? The idea that the Bermuda Triangle is a hotspot for UFO activity is, admittedly, a speculative one. There's no concrete, irrefutable evidence to support it. However, the persistent rumors, anecdotal accounts, and the very nature of the triangle's unexplained disappearances have fueled this theory for decades. It's a narrative that taps into our innate curiosity about the unknown, our fascination with the possibility of life beyond Earth, and our willingness to consider explanations that challenge the status quo. So, where does this idea come from? Well, much of it stems from the nature of the disappearances themselves. Ships and planes vanish without a trace, leaving behind no wreckage, no debris fields, and no clear explanation. In some cases, witnesses report strange lights or unusual atmospheric phenomena in the area prior to a disappearance. These reports, often unconfirmed and subject to interpretation, have been seized upon by proponents of the extraterrestrial theory as potential evidence of UFO involvement. The basic premise is this: the Bermuda Triangle might be an area of intense interest to extraterrestrial civilizations. Perhaps it's a portal to another dimension, a site for secret underwater bases, or simply an area where these beings conduct research or observation. The disappearances, then, could be attributed to accidental encounters with advanced technology, deliberate abduction, or interference with navigational equipment. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds far-fetched, and it is. But let's explore the arguments a bit further. Acknowledging that we're treading firmly into the realm of cute speculation, one argument often cited is the advanced technology that an extraterrestrial civilization would likely possess. If such a civilization were capable of interstellar travel, they would undoubtedly have technology far beyond our current comprehension. This technology could include devices capable of manipulating gravity, creating electromagnetic fields, or even cloaking entire objects from our sensors. Proponents of the UFO theories suggest that these advanced technologies could inadvertently interfere with ships and aircraft, causing them to malfunction or even disappear entirely. For example, a strong electromagnetic field could disrupt navigation systems, leading a vessel astray. A cloaking device could render a plane invisible to radar, making it impossible to locate. Furthermore, some suggest that these extraterrestrial beings might be actively studying human technology or even conducting experiments on our vessels. The disappearances, then, could be a byproduct of these activities. Perhaps a ship or plane is accidentally pulled into another dimension or transported to an alien research facility. Another line of reasoning involves the underwater environment of the Bermuda Triangle. Underwater caves and unusual geological formations. Some suggest that these features could provide ideal hiding places for underwater alien bases. These bases, according to the theory, could be used for research, observation, or even as staging points for interstellar travel. The disappearances in this context could be attributed to ships and planes straying too close to these hidden bases, or encountering some form of underwater alien technology. Perhaps the aliens have developed advanced underwater vehicles or devices that can disrupt shipping and air traffic now. Let's address the elephant in the room: the lack of definitive proof. As I mentioned earlier, there's no smoking gun, no crashed UFO, no recovered alien artifact that definitively proves the extraterrestrial theory. The evidence is largely circumstantial, relying on anecdotal accounts, unexplained phenomena, and a willingness to interpret events in a non-conventional way. Skeptics argue that these disappearances can be explained by more mundane factors, such as human error, weather anomalies, and mechanical failure. They point out that the Bermuda Triangle is a busy shipping lane and a region prone to severe weather, making it statistically more likely that accidents will occur. Furthermore, many of the reported UFO sightings in the area can be attributed to misidentified aircraft, weather balloons, or other natural phenomena. Skeptics argue that the desire to believe in extraterrestrial explanations can lead to misinterpretations and exaggerations, despite the lack of concrete evidence. Theory persists, fueled by our collective fascination with the unknown. It's a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that defy easy explanation, and that our current understanding of the universe is far from complete. Ultimately, the extraterrestrial theory of the Bermuda Triangle remains a speculative one. It's an intriguing possibility to consider, but it's important to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to examine all available evidence. We must consider mundane explanations before jumping to the extraordinary, while the notion of alien involvement adds a layer of intrigue to the Bermuda Triangle mystery. It's crucial to maintain a balanced perspective. The absence of verifiable proof necessitates exploring other, more grounded explanations. However, the allure of the unexplained and the inherent human desire to unravel the unknown, keep the extraterrestrial theory alive in the ongoing quest to understand the secrets of the Bermuda Triangle. It's a tantalizing possibility, but one that requires a critical and discerning eye. All right, everyone, let's dive into something truly mind-bending. Beyond the natural explanations, beyond the weather and the geology, some people propose that the Bermuda Triangle is tied to lost civilizations, specifically the legendary Atlantis. It's a controversial idea, for sure, but one that's persisted for decades, fueled by speculation and a desire to explain the unexplainable. Now, the idea of Atlantis as a technologically advanced civilization swallowed by the sea has captivated imaginations for centuries. Plato first described Atlantis in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, depicting it as a powerful island kingdom that vanished in a single day and night of cataclysm. And while Plato's story is widely considered an allegory, a philosophical thought experiment, the allure of a lost, advanced society continues to spark debate. So, how does Atlantis connect to the Bermuda Triangle? Well, proponents of this theory suggest that the remnants of Atlantean technology, perhaps powerful energy crystals or advanced devices, are still active beneath the waves in the triangle. These devices, they argue, could be responsible for the electromagnetic anomalies, navigational disturbances, and even the disappearances that have plagued the area. One of the key figures in popularizing this connection was Charles Berlitz, whose 1974 book, The Bermuda Triangle, helped solidify the myth in the public consciousness. Berlitz, known for his books on unexplained phenomena, proposed that the triangle was a region where Atlantean technology continued to function, disrupting modern navigation and causing ships and planes to vanish. He suggested that the advanced energy sources once used by the Atlanteans were still emitting powerful forces, creating a kind of electromagnetic vortex that could disorient pilots and disable equipment. Now, I know it sounds pretty far-fetched, but let's think about it. For a moment, the civilization possessed technology far beyond our current understanding. What kind of lingering effects might it have? Could there be residual energy fields, unstable power sources, or even cloaking devices still functioning after thousands of years? It's the kind of question that really gets you thinking. Of course, there's little to no concrete evidence to support the Atlantis theory. No archaeological artifacts definitively linked to Atlantis have ever been found in the Bermuda Triangle, or anywhere else for that matter. The geological evidence also doesn't support the idea of a large landmass sinking in the Atlantic Ocean in the relatively recent past, as Plato described. But that doesn't stop the speculation. Some researchers point to the Bimini Road, a series of underwater limestone formations near Bimini Island in the Bahamas, as possible evidence of Atlantean construction. These formations, discovered in 1968, resemble a paved road or a submerged wall, leading some to believe they are the remains of an ancient harbor or settlement. However, mainstream geologists explain the Bimini Road as a natural formation, the result of fractured beach rock. Beach rock is a type of sedimentary rock formed when sand and shell fragments are cemented together by calcium carbonate. Natural erosion and fracturing can create the appearance of regular blocks, giving the impression of a man-made structure. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, the Atlantis theory continues to appeal to those seeking a more sensational explanation for the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries. It taps into our fascination with lost worlds, ancient secrets, and the possibility that there are forces beyond our comprehension at play. But Atlantis isn't the only lost civilization linked to the Bermuda Triangle. Some theories also propose connections to other ancient cultures, such as the Mayans, Egyptians, or even extraterrestrial visitors. These theories often suggest that these civilizations possessed advanced knowledge of energy manipulation, navigation, or even interdimensional travel, and that the Bermuda Triangle is a kind of portal or gateway to other realms. For example, some suggest the crystal skulls found in Mayan regions could have influenced technology that may have been hidden in the sea and activated through weather conditions like large storms. Some might say, well, what else could be causing these events? These theories, while intriguing, are even more speculative than the Atlantis hypothesis. They rely on interpreting ancient myths and legends as literal accounts of historical events, and often involve a significant amount of conjecture and imagination. Again, there is nothing conclusive to support these types of claims. It's important to approach these theories with a healthy dose of skepticism. While it's fun to imagine the possibility of lost civilizations and advanced technologies, it's crucial to distinguish between speculation and verifiable evidence. The Bermuda Triangle's mysteries may be real, but attributing them to Atlantis or other ancient civilizations requires a significant leap of faith. Ultimately, the Atlantis and ancient civilization theories highlight the enduring human desire to find meaning and order in the face of the unknown. The Bermuda Triangle, with its history of unexplained disappearances, provides a fertile ground for these kinds of imaginative explanations. Whether you believe in the possibility of Atlantean technology or prefer more scientific explanations, the allure of the unknown continues to draw us to the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. It makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? What if some of these myths are actually true? All right, let's turn our attention to something a little stranger. We've talked about geological forces, weather phenomena, and even the possibility of human error contributing to the mysteries surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. But now, we're diving into a theory that delves into the realm of the unexplained. The electronic fog theory. Buckle up, because this one gets a bit out there. The electronic fog theory, at its core, suggests that unusual electromagnetic disturbances exist within the Bermuda Triangle, capable of disrupting navigational instruments, causing time anomalies, and even, according to some proponents, creating temporary portals or rifts in space-time. It's a complex and often controversial idea, but it's one that persists in the collective imagination, fueled by anecdotal evidence and a fascination with the unknown. So, where does this theory come from? Well, a lot of it stems from reports of compass malfunctions, electronic equipment failures, and inexplicable navigational errors experienced by pilots and sailors in the region. Remember Flight 19. The unexplained loss of that squadron is often cited as a key piece of evidence supporting the theory. The lead pilot's reported disorientation and the compass malfunctions of his crew have been attributed to some kind of electronic interference. But it's not just about malfunctioning compasses. Proponents of the electronic fog theory point to more dramatic claims of time anomalies. We're talking about pilots who claim to have experienced gaps in time, arriving at their destination sooner than calculated, or even reporting visual phenomena like swirling mists or unusual atmospheric conditions that seem to defy conventional meteorological explanations. One oft-cited example is the alleged experience of pilot Bruce Gernan in 1970. Gernan claimed that he flew through a tunnel of swirling clouds that exhibited unusual electronic properties. During this experience, he reported that his instruments went haywire and that he felt a sense of disorientation. He also claimed that he arrived at his destination significantly earlier than he should have, leading him to believe that he experienced some kind of time distortion. Now, before we get too carried away, it's important to acknowledge that stories like Gernan's are anecdotal. They rely on personal accounts, which, while compelling, can be subject to memory biases, misinterpretations, and even outright fabrication. There's a lack of verifiable physical evidence to support these claims. However, the persistence of these stories, coupled with the known electromagnetic anomalies in the region, has kept the electronic fog theory alive. So, what could be causing these supposed electromagnetic disturbances? One possibility that's been suggested is naturally occurring electromagnetic fields. The Earth itself has a complex magnetic field, and there are areas where that field is known to be stronger or more irregular than others. It's conceivable, though not definitively proven, that these irregularities could, under certain circumstances, interfere with sensitive electronic equipment. Another, more speculative, explanation involves the presence of unusual atmospheric phenomena. We know that the Bermuda Triangle is prone to sudden and severe weather changes. These changes, particularly during thunderstorms, can generate powerful electromagnetic pulses. It's possible that these pulses, under the right conditions, could temporarily disrupt electronic systems, creating the illusion of navigational errors or time distortions. Then, of course, there are the more outlandish theories. Some proponents of the electronic fog theory suggest that the disturbances are caused by some kind of unknown energy source, perhaps related to underwater geological formations, alien technology, or even the remnants of the mythical city of Atlantis. While these theories are certainly intriguing, they lack any credible scientific basis and should be approached with a healthy dose of skepticism. It's also worth noting that the term electronic fog itself is rather vague. It's used to describe a wide range of unexplained phenomena, from simple compass malfunctions to elaborate tales of time travel. This lack of a clear definition makes it difficult to investigate the theory scientifically, despite the challenges. Some researchers have attempted to study the potential for electromagnetic interference in the Bermuda Triangle. They've used sophisticated instruments to measure magnetic field variations, atmospheric conductivity, and other relevant parameters. However, the results have been largely inconclusive. While some studies have identified minor electromagnetic anomalies, none have been able to definitively link these anomalies to the reported disappearances or time anomalies. So, what are we to make of the electronic fog theory? Is it a plausible explanation for the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle, or simply a product of our imagination, fueled by fear and a desire to believe in the extraordinary? The truth, as is often the case, is likely somewhere in between. It's possible that electromagnetic interference plays a role in some of the incidents that have occurred in the region. Compass malfunctions, for example, are a known hazard of maritime and aviation travel, and they can certainly contribute to navigational errors. However, it's also important to remember that the vast majority of ships and aircraft that traverse the Bermuda Triangle do so without incident. The reported disappearances and time anomalies, while intriguing, are relatively rare when compared to the overall volume of traffic in the area. Ultimately, the electronic fog theory remains a fascinating but largely unproven explanation for the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. It highlights the power of the unknown and our enduring fascination with the possibility that there are forces at play in the world that we simply don't understand. Whether it's a genuine phenomenon or a colorful piece of folklore, the electronic fog theory serves as a reminder that the Bermuda Triangle continues to capture our imagination and challenge our understanding of the world around us. Welcome back truth seekers. We've journeyed through history, examined scientific explanations, and even dipped our toes into the realm of the speculative. But now, let's bring it all into the present. While many older cases remain shrouded in mystery, disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle continue to this day. And while statistical analysis might suggest the area isn't inherently more dangerous than other heavily trafficked shipping lanes, the idea of the Bermuda Triangle continues to fuel speculation whenever a vessel or aircraft vanishes without a trace. So, let's examine some modern cases, those disappearances that have occurred in recent decades, fueling the ongoing enigma and leaving families searching for answers. One particularly haunting case is that of the Witchcraft yacht. On December 22, 1967, Don Burak, the yacht's owner, and his friend, Father Patrick Horgan, set out for a leisurely cruise just 1 mile off the coast of Miami. Witchcraft was a custom-built, 23-foot cabin cruiser designed for stability and even claimed to be unsinkable. Burak was an experienced sailor, very familiar with the local waters. They planned to simply enjoy the Christmas lights of Miami from the water. However, just after 9 p.m., Burak radioed the Coast Guard to report that he had struck something. He didn't specify what, but requested a tow back to shore as a precaution. He gave his coordinates, placing him about 1 mile from Fall Rock's light. Now, this is where the story takes an incredibly strange turn. The Coast Guard responded immediately, dispatching a search team. However, when they arrived at the coordinates, just 19 minutes later, Witchcraft was gone, vanished, completely absent from the area. What makes this case so baffling is the short time frame and the relatively calm sea conditions. The boat was designed to be nearly impossible to sink, and Burak, a seasoned boater, only requested a tow, suggesting the damage wasn't catastrophic. A comprehensive search was launched, covering a vast area of the ocean and the nearby islands. Nothing, no wreckage, no debris, no sign of Witchcraft or its 2 passengers was ever found. The Witchcraft disappearance remains one of the most perplexing mysteries associated with the Bermuda Triangle, defying logical explanation and feeding into the more supernatural theories surrounding the area. How could a boat, reported to be afloat and only 1 mile offshore, vanish so completely in such a short period? Moving forward to the 21st century, we encounter the case of the cargo ship tote container. On October 1st, 2015, during Hurricane Joaquin, the El Faro, a 790-foot cargo ship owned by Tote Maritime, sank near the Bahamas. Within the general area associated with the Bermuda Triangle, although technically slightly outside its core boundaries, the El Faro was carrying vehicles and cargo en route from Jacksonville, Florida, to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Despite the approaching hurricane, the ship proceeded on its course. The captain, likely under pressure to maintain the schedule, chose a route that proved disastrous. The ship encountered the full force of Hurricane Joaquin, a Category 4 storm with winds exceeding 130 miles per hour and massive waves. The El Faro lost propulsion and began taking on water. The crew sent out a distress call, reporting that they were listing and had lost power. Sadly, contact was lost, and the ship ultimately sank. While the sinking of the El Faro is attributed to a combination of factors, including poor decision-making, navigating into a known hurricane, and potential mechanical failures. The event rekindled interest in the dangers of the Bermuda Triangle. The sheer force of the ocean during a hurricane, coupled with the speed at which the El Faro succumbed, highlighted the unforgiving nature of the sea and the potential for even large vessels to be overwhelmed. The tragedy resulted in the loss of all 33 crew members. The wreckage of the El Faro was eventually located on the ocean floor, lying in approximately 15,000 feet of water. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, conducted an extensive investigation, revealing critical safety deficiencies and flawed decision-making processes within TOT Maritime. While not directly attributable to supernatural forces, the sinking of the El Faro serves as a stark reminder of the human element and the dangers inherent in maritime navigation, especially in unpredictable weather conditions within the Bermuda Triangle region. It also highlighted how hubris and overconfidence in the face of nature's fury can lead to catastrophe. Then there's the case of the pilot who vanished in 2017. In May of that year, a skilled and experienced pilot was flying his twin-engine aircraft from Puerto Rico to Florida. He was in constant contact with air traffic control, reporting clear weather conditions and no mechanical issues. Suddenly, over a section of the Bahamas within the infamous triangle, all contact was lost. No distress signal was sent, and the plane simply disappeared from radar. A large-scale search and rescue operation was launched, involving both air and sea assets. Despite extensive efforts, no trace of the aircraft or the pilot was ever found. The lack of any wreckage or debris baffled investigators. The pilot was highly experienced, the plane was well maintained, and the weather was reported as favorable. The sudden and complete disappearance remains a mystery, with theories ranging from catastrophic mechanical failure to pilot incapacitation. Of course, it also breathed new life into the more outlandish theories surrounding the Bermuda Triangle, as the lack of explanation invited speculation. These modern cases, while different in circumstance, share a common thread: unexplained disappearances within or near the Bermuda Triangle. They serve as a poignant reminder that despite advances in technology and navigation, the sea can still be an unpredictable and unforgiving environment. And while rational explanations often exist, human error, mechanical failure, and extreme weather, the aura of mystery surrounding the Bermuda Triangle continues to persist. Fueled by these unanswered questions and the enduring human fascination with the unknown, the Bermuda Triangle, a name synonymous with mystery and peril. But what happens when ships or aircraft vanish within its watery embrace? What challenges do search and rescue teams face when venturing into this infamous zone? The reality of recovery operations in the Bermuda Triangle is a complex tapestry woven with environmental hurdles, logistical nightmares, and the haunting specter of the unknown. One of the most significant obstacles is quite simply the sheer size of the search area, spanning hundreds of thousands of square miles. The Bermuda Triangle presents a logistical nightmare for any search and rescue operation. Imagine searching for a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is an ocean, constantly shifting and often shrouded in unpredictable weather. The vastness demands extensive resources, ships, aircraft, and personnel, all of which come at a considerable financial cost and require meticulous coordination. And then there's the weather. The Bermuda Triangle is notorious for its sudden and dramatic weather changes. Calm seas can quickly transform into raging storms with hurricane-force winds and towering waves. These conditions not only hamper search efforts, but also endanger the lives of the search and rescue teams themselves. Low visibility caused by dense fog or heavy rain further complicates matters, making aerial searches particularly challenging. The unpredictable nature of the weather demands constant vigilance and the ability to adapt quickly, often forcing teams to suspend operations temporarily, losing valuable time in the critical early stages of a search. The Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current that flows through the Bermuda Triangle, adds another layer of complexity. This swift-moving current can rapidly disperse debris and wreckage over a wide area, making it incredibly difficult to pinpoint the location of a missing vessel or aircraft. The strong currents can also carry debris far beyond the boundaries of the initial search area, requiring teams to expand their efforts and cover even more ground. Divers face treacherous conditions battling the current as well. But the environmental challenges don't end there. The depths of the ocean in the Bermuda Triangle present their own unique set of problems. In some areas, the seabed plunges to extreme depths, exceeding several thousand feet. Reaching wreckage at these depths requires specialized equipment, including remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, and sophisticated sonar technology. Even with these tools, the search can be slow and painstaking. With visibility often limited by murky water and the sheer darkness of the deep, the immense pressure at these depths also poses a significant risk to divers, requiring extensive training and specialized equipment. The underwater topography of the Bermuda Triangle is also incredibly varied and complex. From shallow coral reefs to steep underwater cliffs and deep trenches, the seabed is a labyrinth of obstacles that can hinder search efforts. Wreckage can become entangled in coral formations or hidden in underwater canyons, making it difficult to locate and recover. The presence of these underwater hazards also poses a risk to divers and ROVs, requiring careful navigation and precise maneuvering. Beyond the environmental and logistical hurdles, there's also the element of time. The longer a vessel or aircraft remains missing, the lower the chances of finding survivors. Hypothermia, dehydration, and exposure to the elements can quickly take their toll on those who are lost at sea. The search and rescue teams are in a race against time, battling the odds to locate survivors before it's too late. Even if survivors are not found, recovering wreckage and debris can provide closure to families and help investigators determine the cause of the disappearance. Of course, we can't ignore the persistent legends and myths surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. While many disappearances can be attributed to natural causes or human error, the area's reputation for the unexplained can sometimes complicate search and rescue efforts. The psychological impact of operating in a location steeped in mystery and folklore can affect the morale and focus of the search teams. It's essential to approach each case with a rational and scientific mindset, relying on evidence and data rather than succumbing to speculation and superstition. Furthermore, the legal and jurisdictional complexities of the Bermuda Triangle can also present challenges. The area encompasses international waters, meaning that multiple countries may have a stake in search and rescue operations. Coordinating efforts between different nations with their own procedures and protocols can be a time-consuming and bureaucratic process. Determining which country has the primary responsibility for a search can also be a source of contention, potentially delaying the deployment of resources. Despite all these challenges, search and rescue teams continue to brave the elements and venture into the Bermuda Triangle in search of the missing. They are driven by a commitment to saving lives and providing closure to grieving families. They utilize advanced technology, rely on their expertise and training, and persevere in the face of adversity. Their efforts, while often fraught with difficulty and uncertainty, represent a testament to the resilience and compassion of the human spirit. And though the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle may persist, the dedication of these brave individuals shines a light on the darkness, offering hope in even the most challenging of circumstances. It's a grim, difficult, and often thankless job, but one that's absolutely essential. All right, let's talk about the bottom line. The Bermuda Triangle, a place synonymous with mystery and peril, has also become a surprisingly lucrative brand. For the islands nestled within and around its purported boundaries, the mythos has presented both challenges and, perhaps surprisingly, opportunities. Think about it. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Bermuda? Besides, maybe, pastel shorts and golf. It's probably the Triangle. Same goes for parts of Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas. That association, while built on a foundation of questionable facts, is undeniable. And in the tourism industry, name recognition, even if it's tinged with apprehension, is half the battle. For decades, the allure of the unknown has drawn curious travelers, adventure seekers, and even paranormal enthusiasts to these locales. These visitors want to experience the mystique firsthand. They want to sail the waters, dive the reefs, and explore the islands that lie within the infamous zone. They want to say they've been there, that they faced the enigma head-on. Tour operators have, understandably, capitalized on this fascination. Guided tours focusing on the Triangle's legends are common. These excursions often weave together historical anecdotes, local folklore, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of dramatic speculation. You can find sunset cruises that promise eerie atmospheres, diving expeditions to explore alleged wreck sites connected to the Triangle's mysteries, and even land-based tours that highlight locations rumored to be linked to unexplained phenomena. These tours aren't just about sightseeing. They're about selling an experience, a story, a connection to something bigger, something unexplained. And that's a powerful draw for many tourists. It adds a layer of intrigue to what might otherwise be a standard vacation. Think about it. Would a boat tour of an area known for absolutely nothing be as exciting? Of course not. Hotels and resorts also benefit from the Triangle's notoriety. Many incorporate the theme into their marketing materials, highlighting the area's unique history and atmosphere. Some even offer Bermuda Triangle packages, which might include accommodations, tours, and even themed cocktails. Maybe something green and mysteriously named. The impact on local economies extends beyond tourism. The sale of souvenirs related to the Bermuda Triangle provides income for local businesses and artisans. T-shirts, mugs, books, and even novelty items featuring depictions of ships, planes, and alien symbols are readily available. These mementos serve as tangible reminders of visitors' experiences in the Triangle and help support local economies. But it's not all sunshine and tourist dollars. The Bermuda Triangle myth also presents some unique challenges. Of mystery can be a draw. It can also create negative perceptions and deter some potential visitors. Some people might genuinely fear the area, believing it to be inherently dangerous or unlucky. This perception can be particularly damaging to industries like aviation and maritime shipping. The stigma associated with the Triangle can lead to higher insurance rates, stricter regulations, and a reluctance to operate in the area. While these concerns are largely unfounded, the perception persists, creating a real economic burden. Furthermore, the reliance on a myth-based tourism industry can be precarious. What happens if the mystery is definitively solved? Evidence proves beyond a doubt that the Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other heavily trafficked area of ocean. Would the tourists still come? Would the souvenir shops still thrive? This is why it's important for local economies to diversify their tourism offerings and not rely solely on the Bermuda Triangle myth. Promoting the region's natural beauty, its rich history, its vibrant culture, and its world-class recreational activities is crucial for long-term sustainability. The mystery can be a bonus, a unique selling point, but it shouldn't be the only reason people visit. The key is finding a balance. Acknowledge the myth, embrace the intrigue, but don't let it define the region. Showcase the real reasons why these islands are worth visiting: the stunning beaches, the crystal clear waters, the friendly people, and the unique experiences they offer. Ultimately, the Bermuda Triangle's impact on tourism and local economies is a complex and multifaceted issue. It's a story of exploiting a myth, balancing perception with reality, and striving for sustainable economic growth. It demonstrates how a powerful narrative, even one based on shaky foundations, can shape perceptions, drive tourism, and ultimately impact the lives of people who call this mysterious corner of the world home. It's up to those communities to write the next chapter, to decide how the Bermuda Triangle story continues and how it will shape their future. Can they turn an imaginary curse into a blessing? Only time and clever marketing will tell. All right. Let's shift our focus from the sensationalized stories and turn to the real science, trying to unpack the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. For decades, researchers from various fields have dedicated their time and resources to understanding if anything truly anomalous is happening in this area. It's time to examine some of their most compelling findings and ongoing investigations. 1. Of the primary areas of focus has been on gathering comprehensive data about weather patterns. The Bermuda Triangle is notorious for its unpredictable and sometimes violent weather. We're not just talking about your average thunderstorms. This region is frequently impacted by hurricanes, powerful Gulf Stream currents, and the potential for rogue waves. Scientists are using advanced weather modeling and satellite technology to gain a better understanding of how these factors might contribute to maritime and aviation incidents. For example, the rapid intensification of hurricanes can create incredibly hazardous conditions for ships and planes, and studies are ongoing to improve forecasting accuracy in this region. The Gulf Stream itself is a major player. This powerful ocean current flows northeastward through the Bermuda Triangle, and its strong currents and eddies can create navigational challenges, especially for smaller vessels. Researchers are mapping the Gulf Stream's complex flow patterns to help mariners better navigate this area and avoid potentially dangerous conditions. They're also studying how the interaction between the Gulf Stream and weather systems can lead to the formation of rogue waves. Those unusually large and unpredictable waves that can pose a significant threat to ships. Beyond weather, geophysicists have been exploring the potential role of geological factors. One intriguing theory revolves around methane hydrates, which are ice-like structures that contain trapped methane gas. These hydrates can be found on the ocean floor, and under certain conditions, they can become unstable and release large volumes of methane. If a significant release of methane were to occur beneath a ship, it could theoretically reduce the water's density, causing the ship to lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. While there's no conclusive evidence of this happening in the Bermuda Triangle, researchers are actively studying methane hydrate deposits in the area to assess the potential risk. Seismic surveys and seafloor mapping are being used to identify areas where methane hydrates are present and to monitor their stability. Another area of investigation involves magnetic anomalies. The Bermuda Triangle is located in a region where the Earth's magnetic field is known to exhibit some unusual characteristics. The compass doesn't necessarily point to true north, which is called magnetic declination. While magnetic declination is all over the world and taken into account with proper navigation, some speculate more anomalous magnetic activity could cause equipment malfunctions or navigational errors. Scientists are conducting detailed magnetic surveys to map the magnetic field in the area and to determine if any significant anomalies exist that could affect navigation equipment. It's important to note that while magnetic variations exist, modern navigation systems are designed to compensate for these variations, making it unlikely that they are a primary cause of disappearances. It's also crucial to consider the role of human error and mechanical failure. While these factors might not be as exciting as some of the more exotic theories. They are often the most likely explanations for many incidents. The Bermuda Triangle is a busy shipping lane and a popular area for recreational boating and aviation. With increased traffic comes an increased risk of accidents due to human error, such as navigational mistakes, pilot fatigue, or inadequate training. Similarly, mechanical failures, such as engine problems or equipment malfunctions, can lead to serious incidents, especially in challenging weather conditions. Accident investigations often reveal that a combination of factors, including human error, mechanical failure, and adverse weather, contributed to a particular event. Researchers are analyzing accident reports and conducting simulations to better understand how these factors can interact and lead to disappearances. Furthermore, oceanographers are studying the underwater topography of the Bermuda Triangle. The region is characterized by a complex seafloor, including the Puerto Rico Trench, which is one of the deepest points in the Atlantic Ocean. This trench and other underwater features can create unpredictable currents and turbulence, which can pose challenges for ships and submarines. Detailed mapping of the seafloor is helping researchers understand how these features influence ocean currents and wave patterns. The Sargasso Sea, which lies within the Bermuda Triangle, is another area of scientific interest. This unique ecosystem is characterized by large quantities of floating sargassum seaweed, which can create navigational hazards and potentially interfere with search and rescue operations. Marine biologists are studying the Sargasso Sea to understand its ecological role and to assess its potential impact on maritime activities. It's important to emphasize that scientific research is an ongoing process. While some investigations have debunked many of the more sensational claims about the Bermuda Triangle, others have revealed intriguing insights into the complex environmental factors that can affect this region. Scientists are continuing to collect data, conduct experiments, and refine their models to gain a better understanding of the potential risks and hazards associated with maritime and aviation activities in the Bermuda Triangle. They are using cutting-edge technology, such as underwater drones, advanced sonar systems, and sophisticated weather models, to unravel the truth behind the mysteries of this enigmatic area. The goal of this research isn't necessarily to prove or disprove the existence of a supernatural phenomenon, but rather to understand the natural processes that are at play and to improve safety for those who travel through this region. By combining scientific rigor with a healthy dose of skepticism, researchers are gradually piecing together a more complete picture of the Bermuda Triangle, separating fact from fiction and shedding light on the real challenges and risks that exist in this fascinating and sometimes dangerous area. These ongoing investigations are crucial for ensuring the safety of mariners and aviators, and for providing a more informed and accurate understanding of the Bermuda Triangle. It's a constant push for more data, better models, and a deeper appreciation for the powerful forces of nature that shape this region. All right. We've spent a good chunk of time navigating through centuries of stories, theories, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of speculation. So, what can we definitively say about the Bermuda Triangle? Is it a vortex of doom, a playground for aliens, or just a patch of ocean with a seriously overblown reputation? The truth, as it often does, lies somewhere in between. Let's start by acknowledging the obvious. Ships and planes have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. That's an undeniable fact. We've recounted several instances from the early mysteries. Two more recent disappearances, highlighting cases where explanations remain elusive. However, the key is the frequency and nature of these events, and whether they truly exceed the norm for similarly trafficked areas of the ocean. For years, the Bermuda Triangle was portrayed as a uniquely dangerous place, far more prone to disappearances than any other region. But when we examine the statistical evidence, this claim crumbles. Studies by organizations like the U.S. Coast Guard and insurance companies have consistently shown that the number of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is not significantly higher than in any other comparable area with similar maritime traffic, weather patterns, and reporting procedures. In fact, some studies suggest the disappearance rate is actually lower than in other regions. This doesn't negate the fact that tragedies occur, but it does challenge the notion of the triangle as an anomaly, a place governed by inexplicable forces. When we normalize the data, taking into account the heavy traffic and the often challenging environmental conditions, the Bermuda Triangle starts to look a lot less mysterious. A significant part of the Bermuda Triangle myth relies on sensationalism and exaggeration. Early accounts often lacked rigorous investigation, relying on anecdotal evidence and fueling speculation. The media, eager for a captivating story, amplified these claims, solidifying the triangle's reputation as a danger zone. Books and documentaries, while entertaining, often prioritized intrigue over accuracy, perpetuating the myth for decades. Think about it. A missing plane is a tragedy, but a missing plane in the Bermuda Triangle, that's instant headline material, regardless of the circumstances. This inherent bias in reporting contributed significantly to the triangle's exaggerated image. So, what are the more plausible explanations for the disappearances? Well, as we've explored, there's no shortage of contributing factors. Weather, for starters, plays a major role. The Bermuda Triangle is notorious for its unpredictable and severe weather, including hurricanes, tropical storms, and sudden squalls. These powerful storms can quickly overwhelm even experienced sailors and pilots, leading to accidents and disappearances. The Gulf Stream, a strong ocean current that flows through the area, also presents a challenge. Its swift currents can quickly carry debris and wreckage far from the original site of an accident, making search and rescue efforts extremely difficult. Rogue waves, those massive and unpredictable walls of water, pose a significant threat to ships, particularly smaller vessels. Then there's the geophysical aspect. The theory of methane hydrates, while still debated, offers a potential explanation for some disappearances. Sudden releases of methane gas from the seabed could create bubbles large enough to sink ships or disrupt aircraft engines. Anomalies, although not definitively proven, could potentially interfere with navigational instruments, leading to errors and accidents. Of course, we can't overlook the human element. Human error, whether in navigation, decision-making, or maintenance, is a significant factor in many maritime and aviation accidents. Mechanical failures, equipment malfunctions, and inadequate training can all contribute to disasters. Not forget the historical presence of piracy in the Caribbean. While less prevalent today, the threat of maritime crime has always been a reality in this region. The Sargasso Sea, a unique ecosystem within the Bermuda Triangle, presents its own set of challenges. Its dense seaweed mats can entangle ships and obscure wreckage, further complicating search and rescue operations. Military activities and naval exercises, while rarely acknowledged, could potentially contribute to some disappearances, either through accidents or unreported incidents. The underwater topography, particularly the Puerto Rico Trench, one of the deepest points in the Atlantic Ocean, adds another layer of complexity. A vessel sinking into that abyss would be virtually impossible to recover. And what about the more outlandish theories? Extraterrestrial interference, lost civilizations like Atlantis, time anomalies, and electronic fog. These ideas, while fascinating, lack any credible scientific evidence. They're products of imagination, fueled by our innate desire to explain the unknown. While it's fun to entertain these possibilities, it's crucial to distinguish them from evidence-based explanations. They serve as great thought experiments, but little else. In conclusion, the Bermuda Triangle is not a supernatural vortex or an alien abduction zone. It's a real place with a history of disappearances. But those disappearances can largely be attributed to a combination of natural phenomena, human error, and the statistical realities of a busy and challenging maritime and aviation environment. The myth of the Bermuda Triangle, perpetuated by sensationalism and speculation, has overshadowed the more mundane, but far more likely, explanations. The real mystery of the Bermuda Triangle isn't what is happening there, but why we're so eager to believe in the unbelievable. Perhaps it's the allure of the unknown, the human fascination with the unexplained, or simply the desire for a good story. Whatever the reason, the Bermuda Triangle serves as a reminder of the power of myth and the importance of critical thinking. It's a call to approach extraordinary claims with skepticism and to seek out evidence-based explanations, even when they're less exciting than the fantastical alternatives. So, the next time you hear about the Bermuda Triangle, remember to separate fact from fiction. Remember the weather, the currents, the depths, and the undeniable presence of human fallibility. The truth is out there, but it's often far less sensational than the myth. And with that, our journey into the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle comes to an end. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the truth wherever it may lead.